is the Battle of the Primes.
No, we don't mean Optimus Prime.
Hey everyone, Ben and Ob here, and today we are bringing Aventura and Cabana Bay head to head so that you can plan what hotel works best for you when going on your next Universal Orlando vacation.
Ding, ding, ding. There are only 2 hotels at Universal Orlando that fall into the Prime Resort category, and boy, they couldn't be any more different.
They really are. Kind of opposite ends of the spectrum.
So we will break down some major categories and tell you what we like and what we don't like about both Aventura and Cabana Bay.
Let's start with round 1. Theming at Universal Orlando hotels is always something that we thoroughly enjoy and look forward to at every hotel. Now, there's significant differences between Cabana Bay and Aventura, so let's kick it off and talk about Cabana Bay's theming.
Cabana Bay is 1950s throwback style at its finest.
I think of my grandparents when we go there.
From the retro cars out front to the colors that they use in the rooms, and even to the finest detail of the movies and ads that they're playing on the screens at the Bayliner Diner.
So fun to say.
This is mid-century feel at its finest.
It is bright and airy, but fun and retro. Like the theming is so well done, even to the little shampoo bottles of VO5, and I don't remember what the soap's called,
a little clock too.
Yeah, like there's just some really well themed pieces in Cabana Bay. On the flip side,
Flippy-doo.
Aventura is like you went into the future. Cabana Bay, you went back in time. Aventura, you're going forward in time. It is a modern, futuristic theme when you walk into the big, airy lobby at Aventura, and there's just very clean, modern aesthetic in the rooms, throughout the lobby, and throughout the majority of the hotel.
Very minimalistic.
Additionally, Ben's favorite piece about Aventura is that it's in the shape of a
fidget spinner.
If you know what that is, it exactly is in that shape. It's an interesting layout, very futuristic. It is a much more clean, almost sterile environment, just like, again, the Jetsons. Like, it's clean, it's sparkly, and a robot might be wandering around in your path. Very quick and easy there. I'm sure Ben is gonna show you some lovely footage of both of these hotels. We've stayed at both. What should we talk about next?
Let's talk about food.
Round 2, let's talk about food. Being both prime value hotels, Aventura and Cabana Bay have cafeteria style food and seating, which means you grab your food, you take it and check out, and you get to go sit in a spot within the lobby dining area. Now at Cabana Bay, you have my favorite name, the Bayliner Diner, and at Aventura you have?
Urban Pantry.
They both are very similar. I think personally there are more food options at Cabana Bay. However, it's about same. I just think they spread them around differently at each location. Are there foods that you liked better at one hotel versus the other?
That sandwich that we had at Cabana Bay for lunch was very, very good.
Additionally, another piece that stands out when it comes to food is over at Cabana Bay because they have the malt shop.
Nothing will end a long day at the parks better than a nightcap from the malt shop.
Arguably, if a malt is not the nightcap for you, Aventura does have quite a few options for nightcaps. There are a number of bars within Aventura, both in the lobby as well as by the pool, which we'll get to the pools a little bit later. And then on the rooftop, you have Bar 17, which has food as well, like small shareable food as well as drinks. Maybe a actual alcoholic drink is more your kind of nightcap.
They have some amazing views from the top of Bar 17. So if spending some time socializing and looking out over Volcano Bay and the parks fits your vibe, highly consider going to Bar 17 to cap your night off.
The last piece around food that I want to point out, which I can say we have not actually tried yet, but it intrigues me every single time, is there is pizza delivery to your room at Cabana Bay. If you haven't noticed yet, Cabana Bay does tend to be a little more family friendly, whereas Aventura is more for your adults.
Going with that family style versus adult style theming between Aventura and Cabana Bay, this next one is a big one when you talk about timing your Universal Orlando vacation.
Round 3.
Size and crowds. Cabana Bay has over 2,000 rooms, which just gives you an idea of how big this hotel is. And with that affordable price, it is prime for families and large groups. And we suspect that if it's a busy time and you've filled up all those rooms, Cabana Bay can turn into a bit of a madhouse.
Cabana Bay is the largest hotel on Universal property, and with that, it does make visiting a little crowded during the peak seasons. It's beautiful to visit Cabana Bay during the off season because you feel like you're the only one at the hotel when you're walking around, or at least one of very few. But during peak season, when those rooms are all occupied, there's a lot of people there.
Now contrast this with Aventura, which only has 600 rooms, and you combine that with that adult sort of flair, you get a much different vibe at Aventura than you do Cabana Bay.
Do you think that with the 2,000 some rooms at Cabana Bay versus how many at Aventura?
600.
600. Do you think the pools are packed when each of these hotels are full?
That is a great question, and we will get to pools here shortly. But let's talk about proximity to the parks prior.
Round 4, distance to the parks. Now, we have stayed at both Cabana Bay and Aventura. We enjoyed both of them. One key piece that we want to talk about when it comes to distance to the parks are the ways you can get to the park. Because whether you want to walk, whether you want to ride on the shuttle bus, or maybe you're going to jump on a water taxi, which neither of them have, there are opportunities for all three. First, let's talk about walking and walking distance.
The garden walkway path that you get from Cabana Bay or Aventura is honestly probably comparable in distance as well as time. However, walking from Cabana Bay certainly feels just a bit longer than it does walking from Aventura.
I still can't put my finger on exactly why it feels so much longer. Maybe it's because we're racing back to go get a malt at the end of the night. Who knows? But that walking path to Cabana Bay just feels like a trek. Aventura, we walked in the morning times, and I think it's because it was the start of our day versus the end of our day. But the walk from Aventura just seemed pretty darn quick compared to Cabana Bay. But in reality, they are relatively similar distances. The hotels are literally right across the road from each other. Both Aventura and Cabana Bay have shuttle service. The shuttles both take about the same amount of time, and they run on regular schedules. And then finally, water taxi. Let's talk a little bit about this.
Now, you officially
technically
don't get water taxi access when you're staying at Aventura. However,
or Cabana Bay.
You can hop over to Sapphire Falls, which is right next door to Aventura, and utilize their water taxi.
And then you just scoot right over to your hotel from Sapphire Falls.
Do you understand that this is not really a secret anymore? And so the line for Sapphire Falls water taxi does get a bit long, particularly at those peak times and towards the end of the night.
Now, Ben, couldn't you just walk over from Cabana Bay to Sapphire Falls also and ride the water taxi?
You could.
It's not
However,
that easy.
you have to cross a major road in order to do so. So we don't highly recommend it.
It's not, please don't cross that road. It's not made to be crossed. It's got a stoplight, but you're not supposed, there's a sign that says don't cross the road. There is to cross the road, there is a bridge that you go over. However, as soon as we cross over that bridge and start walking, you're already walking away from Sapphire Falls. And at that point, you just might as well just keep going. And if you really need a water taxi, hop on the one at Royal Pacific. But still, you end up backtracking anyway. So in this category, water taxi options are much more viable when you go to Aventura than at Cabana Bay.
But if you feel like hanging out at your hotel and avoiding the parks for a day, what do the pools look like?
Round 5, pools and amenities. At Cabana Bay, you get 2 pools. At Aventura, you get 1. I think this is suited because Cabana Bay is a much larger hotel. It is fitting to have 2 pools. At Cabana Bay, they have the Cabana Bay Courtyard and they have the Lazy River Courtyard. Both pools are rather large, not the biggest on property comparatively, but they're pretty good sized
pretty good
pools.
size.
As well as the Cabana Bay courtyard has a 100-foot water slide, and the Lazy River courtyard, I bet you could guess, it's got a lazy river in it.
The Lazy River courtyard pool is a little smaller than the Cabana Bay courtyard pool, just for reference when you're thinking about what pool to go to during your lazy day at the hotel.
The Lazy River courtyard pool also has a sandy beach area with it, which is pretty neat. You don't get that at every hotel.
Contrast that to Aventura, which only has the one pool and is uniquely shaped, but that's about all you get.
I think they play movies but they do that at other pools as well, so I don't know. All of the pool areas have some sort of bar / grill associated with it. Aventura's pool, though, is much more geared towards adults to hang out in. You just don't see very many kids there.
If I were to describe it, Aventura's pool is for lounging.
Lounging and like a modern house party, drinking, let's go splash around for a little bit before we...
Not doing cannonballs into the deep end.
Yeah, probably not. Now, I believe they do have a splash pad area at Aventura, so that is helpful if you are bringing the kiddos, but it just does not have the...
Kid-friendly feel to it.
Yeah, it does not. It does not.
So if you would rather spend your day at Volcano Bay, both Aventura and Cabana Bay have some unique entrances.
They do. Start out with, at Cabana Bay, you get a private entrance to Volcano Bay. It's very easy to get to, and it's your own private entrance. The only other people that are going through that entrance are also staying at Cabana Bay. That's a pretty neat perk. At Aventura, alternatively, you have a semi-private entrance. That entrance takes you to the main entrance of Volcano Bay. So although you have easy access at Aventura, you are still entering Volcano Bay with the other Volcano Bay guests that are all there to see and experience the water park.
Let's talk about one of the most important pieces, the rooms.
Round 6. Rooms.
Cabana Bay and Aventura's rooms, in terms of size, are very, very comparable. However, where they differentiate drastically is the overall theming. Cabana Bay's rooms are very well themed. They've got a great color scheme. They've got that 1950s style, as well as down to the soap and the shampoo that you get in the showers. Like, you just feel like you're back at a 1950s hotel. You contrasting that to Aventura's rooms, it kind of feels like you're staying at a La Quinta or a Marriott.
Now in Aventura's rooms, you do have a pretty neat iPad that, well, off-brand iPad. I don't know if it's a brand name iPad, but it's a pad of technology sorts, and it controls everything in the room, which is pretty darn neat at the end of the day when you're sitting in your bed and you're like, it's time for bed. I want to turn off the TV. I want to turn off the lights, or I don't know what. Like, it's a pretty nice little accessory, which you wouldn't get when you're in the 1950s at Cabana Bay. However, I would say that if there's a room that stands out to me after a trip, it's Cabana Bay's rooms. Even though you are throwing it back in time, when you leave, you're like, oh man, I remember the VO5, or I might remember this, versus like a robot delivering stuff to your room is pretty neat, but it just doesn't
hit you in the feels.
No, it doesn't hit you in the feels in the same way because of the theming. Like the theming at Cabana Bay reminds you that you're on vacation and having fun, versus, like Ben said, going to Aventura, it does feel like I just went to like a fancy La Quinta down the road. One thing that we do very much appreciate about Aventura are the big windows you get to look out, which is pretty darn neat. But overall, Cabana Bay's theming definitely kicks it up a notch. Round 7. Other stuff. Aside from the bars, there aren't that many thrills at Aventura. Maybe you'll have Relay, the robot, deliver something to you, or maybe you'll go and hang out at the bars, or go up to Bar 17. That is really cool. But aside from that, that's about what you got at Aventura. Both hotels have fitness facilities. Aventura's is a La Quinta fitness facility.
Cabana Bay's is a little bigger because it's got 2,000 plus rooms.
And as we've been harping on, Cabana Bay's theming of their fitness facility is centered around Jack LaLanne, which is quite the theming to fit the aesthetic and the time frame in which they have set this hotel around.
Cabana Bay also has the additional amenity of Galaxy Bowl. So again, if you're trying to hang out at the hotel for the day, consider going bowling and having fun at Galaxy Bowl.
One question you might be asking, do they have Starbucks? The answers are yes. Both hotels have a Starbucks in the lobby, so you can check that one off the list.
Caffeine is life.
One amenity I do want to point out about Cabana Bay is that depending on the time of year, they may have a special event going on, and that may be a matter of hosting an HHN event that folks can go and attend even if they're not visiting for the actual Halloween Horror Nights. Or every once in a while there will be some character meet and greets in the lobbies, which really, again, comes back to serving those families with kids.
Last time we were there, we saw Puss in Boots meandering around the hotel lobby, saying hi to families and kiddos, taking pictures, and it was a great experience for everyone.
Ben was ecstatic. I don't know if you can tell by now, I don't know how many rounds we've done, but we definitely have some preferences between these two hotels. So Ben, final round.
Final round.
7, 8, 9, round whatever we're on here. Which hotel would you prefer to stay at?
9 times out of 10, I know that's very definitive.
Very.
I would stay at Cabana Bay. I enjoy the theming. We are park people. We enjoy going to the parks. So the allure of the pools is cool, but like we'd rather go to the parks or we'd rather go to Volcano Bay. For me, the sterile aesthetic of Aventura just doesn't make me feel like I'm at Universal. If I'm going to Universal, I want theming and I want over-the-top theming. And I think Cabana Bay offers that more than Aventura does.
Now, just to make it clear, when we first were visiting Universal and bouncing around to all of these hotels, we avoided Cabana Bay for quite a while because we knew it was a very family-oriented hotel. And being a child-free family, we didn't think that that would be a fit for us. So our initial reservations when we went and booked at a Prime Value hotel was Aventura. We had a great experience when we went there. We brought our buddy Big John and we all shared a room together. Maybe next time it'll just be us. But we specifically thought Aventura would be much more our vibe. We enjoyed it. It was not a bad experience by any means. We have just found that Cabana Bay takes things above and beyond our expectations of what we're looking for during a Universal Orlando vacation.
If you disagree with us, let us know in the comments. If you agree with us, let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to see some exclusive content that we make for performers, as well as exclusive Patreon content, check out our Patreon link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Toodaloo.